Let me now move to the information technology issue. The reliability and efficiency of a credible information technology system has been proven to simplify processes and to increase transparency in transactions. Example of which is the computerization of the GSIS, the BIR, and other government agencies who, which aims to benefit from IT for more efficient, accurate, and effective delivery of public service. In Philhealth, however, it seems that the procurement and completion of their IT system has been the cause of so many corruption issues. This is either they do not want a transparent system, or the corruption issues in Philhealth is already deeply rooted. Hence, the findings of the Committee of the Whole upon its investigations are as follows, and these are the statement of facts. In a letter addressed to President Rodrigo Duterte through Secretary Harry Roque on May 15, 2020, a Philhealth board member, Alejandro Cabading, narrated his personal knowledge on the incidents of corruption in Philhealth, allegedly manipulated by the corporation's Information and Technology Department. It started with the original 2.1 billion proposal for the IT department, which was rejected by the board for failure to provide specific details. Subsequently, the proposed budget was lowered to 1.9 billion, since according to IT, there were typographical errors in its previous submission. 200 million typo. On March 13, 2020, the board was constrained to approve the 328 million IT supplemental budget. Otherwise, they were told that the, quote, the entire Philhealth system will collapse. Now, board member Susan Mercado even said that it seems that the board was being blackmailed in approving this amount, end of quote. April 2020, SBP for IT, Jovita Aragona, proposed 750 million pesos for procurement of items. However, the board insisted that the internal audit report on the inventory of software and hardware be presented first before they approve anything. During the first week of May, the internal audit report was submitted. But instead of presenting it to the board, the proposal of SBP Aragona for the approval of 215 million was presented na iba. As indicated in the internal audit report, the ICT resources included in the calendar year 2020 budget proposal but do not appear in the ISSP have a total amount of 734,014,120, which is 46.84% of the total amount of the proposed budget of ICT for calendar year 2020. On top of this, there is an overpricing worth 98,050,000, Mr. President. Incidentally, just for the record, ISSP is Information Systems Strategic Plan. The report also indicated that there was intent to confuse and deceive by splitting one item into two items by listing different descriptions or specifications. This is in the amount of 132 million. This vague description specification will allow the same item to be bought again the following year. O ito maliwanag. Let's flash on the board, Mr. President. The issue on overpricing and padding. The most anomalous proposals contained in the internal audit report are the following. It's on the board. Basahin ko na mabilis, Mr. President. The item, and then the amount sa IT proposal, and then the amount approved ng ISSP. na dapat yun ang masunod. Adobe Master Collection Software, sabi ng Philhealth, 21 million. Sabi ng ISSP, 168,000 lang. Application Services and Licenses, sabi ng IT ng Philhealth, 40 million. Dapat approved ng ISSP, 25 million lang. Structured Cabling, 5 million. Sabi ng ISSP, 500,000. Identity Management Software, 42 million. Sabi ng ISSP, 20 million. Office Productivity Software, 21 million. ISSP, 5 million. Application Server End, 25 million. Approved ng ISSP, 14,800,000. Mr. President, COA Audit Query Memorandum Number 2020-002, dated January 31, 2020, stated that 24 network switches were verified as unutilized, and found inside its box at the time of inspection. Yung nabili na nila dati, 24. Non-utilization of the network switches was deemed disadvantageous to the government since the said items were not tested for any further manufacturing defects, malfunction that may arise within the warranty period of the contract. However, the committee was informed by former Head Executive Assistant Colonel Laborte, retired Armed Forces, siya yung resigned Head Executive Assistant ni PCEO Ricardo Morales, that according to him, PhilHealth, quote, is currently procuring 15 more of the same network switches that are unutilized. May 24 kang unutilized eh. Bibili ka na naman ng 15. Furthermore, these network switches are outstandingly overpriced, Mr. President, in comparison to the current market value. Grabe. Nasayang na yung 24, bibili ka pa ng 15. Dadagdagan mo. The explanations given by PhilHealth on the alleged overpriced Cisco network switches procurement are inconsistent, confusing, and indeed questionable. Colonel Laborte, on the other hand, is convincing because being an IT and Cisco expert himself, he confidently stated that what the PhilHealth awarded was Cisco 9200 since the 2960XR model was already obsolete and no longer available in the market. So yung bid price po ng Cisco's 9200 market price at 62,464 each at hindi 320,000 as asserted by PhilHealth, which they claim was the price of Cisco 2960XR in 2016. The bid and contract price should then be the market price of Cisco 9200, which is said to be only 62,464. Ipipilit talaga yung Cisco 2960XR. Yung binibili nila para ma-justify lang na mas mataas ang presyo. Kahit na ang totoo, ay yung Cisco 9200 na mas mura ang binibili at awarded sa winning bidder. The 258,000 difference is so huge even if you include the add-ons like warranty, VAT, and delivery fee. Kahit isama mo pa yun, overpriced pa rin. If that's the case, huwag na tayo magbayad ng warranty. Hindi po ba? Mas mura pala pag bumili na lang ng bago. The committee now asks, how was the approved budget for the contract, the ABC, arrived at? Who came up with the ABC in the specific technical specifications for the procurement? It should be stressed that the bidders will only bid within the approved budget for the contract. So if the ABC, while the procuring entity is bloated, the tendency is for the bidders to bloat their bid. their bid prices as well. Section 36, as a reminder, Mr. President, of Republic Act 9184 or the Government Procurement Reform Act provides that in all instances, the procuring entity shall ensure that the ABC reflects the most advantageous prevailing price for the government. Mr. President, the cardinal rule on fiscal responsibility provides all resources of the government shall be managed, expended, or utilized in accordance with law and regulations and safeguarded against loss or wastage through illegal or improper disposition to ensure efficiency, economy, and effectiveness in the operations of government. The responsibility to take care that such policy is faithfully adhered to rests directly with the chief or the head of the government agency concerned. It seems like Philhealth did not properly plan its ICT procurement in this case. During the briefing, IT Chief Aragona presented this table to disprove the alleged overpricing daw. Ayan. I am showing it to you. In her attempt to explain her point, Ms. Aragona showed that based on their online market search as of August 5, the amount of the purchase Cisco 2960 included other services and charges, which increased to 419,000 per unit. However, as narrated by Colonel Laborte, the network switches that she was presenting during the Philhealth press conference after one of our hearings, where the network switches already procured by Philhealth in 2016 and were delivered to the agency sometime in August or September of 2017. She was not referring to the same IT equipment. She was comparing apples with oranges. In the August 11 hearing also, Mr. President, Senate Committee of the Whole, Attorney Robert Labe Jr. at first controverted the statements made by Colonel Laborte. He supported the statements made by SVP Aragona that the item to be procured was Cisco 2960XR. However, after comparing notes and speaking with former Head Executive Assistant Colonel Laborte, Attorney Labe himself discovered that the documents submitted to him were different from what were previously submitted to Colonel Laborte. The following discrepancies were noted in the document submitted to him. To wit, there is a difference in the OPCEO number and dates, the absence of reference information in ITR standard specification, and no determination of compliance with the minimum requirements. The latter document did not contain any information on whether the minimum requirements have been complied with and was left blank. Most importantly, the reference information regarding the brand, model, and name of the company was left blank, when in fact, it is seen in the former that it contained the following, yung tamang bilin dapat. Cisco 9224 Port POE. And the name of the company, Microgenesis Software Incorporated, doing business under the name and style of Microgenesis Business Systems. A careful look between the standard specifications would show that the said documents in relation to the procurement of 15 additional network switches bore the same number codes to the 012, 0102, 0618, 0000 at the left corner of the document, and ITMD 2018, 04133 at the right corner of the document. So, Mr. President, from the look of things, these people from Philhealth, in trying to make it appear that what they procured was Cisco 2960XR, resorted to doctoring or even forging documents to make the Senate President and the members of the Committee of the Whole believe their story. What complicated the matter was the statement made by the winning bidder. Oh, yung Microgenesis, stating that what they have quoted is for Cisco 9200 switches. So, Mr. President, from the foregoing, it is evident that SBP Aragona, Calixto Gabuya, and the personnel of PRONCR were colluding with one another to mislead the Committee of the Whole on the truth about the additional 15 network switches that were procured in August 2019. In the last Committee of the Whole hearing, August 18, Philhealth's SBP and Chief Information Officer Aragona and Senior IT Officer Gabuya finally made the admission that the item being procured was Cisco 9200 and not Cisco 2960 XR. Upon presentation of evidence that even Microgenesis, the winning bidder, stated such in an article released by them. On the second hearing, August 11, Mr. President, the IT Secretary Gregorio Honasan pointed out that the ISSP must be submitted for approval before the DICT. This is a requisite before a government entity may procure any IT item. However, there are items in the IT budget proposal that were included which was not submitted nor approved by the DICT. Furthermore, some of the proposed items in the IT budget proposal would show that there are items without any specification and indication of number of units. The contents of the internal audit report support the COA audit observation memorandum on two items with a total of 29,618,000. Philhealth was not able to sufficiently explain how the internal audit report showing 734 million worth of technology resources were included in the Philhealth's budget proposal for 2020. The report also revealed 98 million in alleged overpriced items and 132 million worth of items had been subjected to the splitting of contracts to avoid the requirement of holding a public bidding. Although they said it has not been spent, money has not been released. Nevertheless, an attempt to defraud government and the people of the Philippines with this type of padded costs are unspeakable and unforgivable. Kung inattempt niyong gawin yan, ginagawa niyo dati yan. Awarded na yung contracts eh. Awarded na eh. Inabort nyo lang eh, dahil nabuko eh. Also, Colonel Laborte disclosed that since he came to Philhealth, he noticed that IT projects from 2018 to 2019 were almost awarded to a single calculated bidder. Meaning nun, Mr. President, there's only one bidder participates in the bidding and is awarded the contract. And its bid price is always close to the approved budget for the contract. By its nature and characteristics, a competitive public bidding aims to protect public interest, Mr. President, by giving the public the best possible advantages through open competition. Clearly, Philhealth failed to uphold the best interest of the public and acted in a manner that is disadvantageous to the government.